Start. Hello guys, now we will be starting with a new chapter, that is Central Nervous System Physiology. Okay. Now in this video we will be mainly concentrating on the basics. Okay. Now what is nervous system? What is central nervous system? What is peripheral nervous system? What are nerves, ganglia, what are the receptors, first order neurons, second order neurons? Okay. Now in this video we will be discussing from the basics. After discussing basics, in the later part of videos, we will be going into the concepts. Okay. Now, first of all, let's write it down here. Nervous system. Okay. Nervous system was mainly divided into two parts. You guys all know. Okay. First part is central nervous system. One division is central nervous system and other is peripheral nervous system. So what is the difference between central nervous system and peripheral nervous system? The name itself, it's a central nervous system, the one which are present in the central part of your body. Okay, the brain and spinal cord. So central nervous system includes brain and spinal cord. Okay, they are the centers for processing. Okay, these are the centers where information will be processed. Okay, central nervous system. Now, what are coming under peripheral nervous system? Peripheral nervous system include nerves. Okay, peripheral nervous system include nerves. Now, which nerves? Cranial nerves. Okay, and peripheral nerves are the spinal nerves. Now, see guys, here let me show you in a simple way. Imagine this is your brain. So, I am just showing you a simple diagram. Guys, these are the different parts of brain. Here will be cerebrum. Okay, cerebrum, midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, here will be cerebellum, and from here is the spinal cord. Okay, spinal cord. Now, what and all I have shown you, the brain and the spinal cord, brain with the brainstem and spinal cord, all the structures, whatever I have shown you, this is central nervous system. Now, to this central nervous system, there are certain extensions, or I can say, from your, especially from the brainstem which includes midbrain, pons and medulla, from these regions, there are certain nerves which are coming out. Okay, there are certain nerves, almost 12 pairs of nerves are coming out. Now, what are these nerves called as? As they are coming from the brainstem, they are called as cranial nerves. Okay, cranial nerves which are present in the cranium, they are present in the brain. Okay, they are coming out of the brainstem. Now, there are certain nerves which are coming out of the spinal cord. Okay, these are the nerves which will be coming out of spinal cord. I am saying there are certain nerves which are coming out of spinal cord. These nerves are called as spinal nerves. Okay, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 21 pairs of spinal nerves are there. So, these cranial nerves, okay, all these cranial nerves and all these spinal nerves, they are coming under peripheral nervous system. Brain, brainstem, cerebellum, spinal cord, all of them are coming under central nervous system. Okay, this is the basic thing which you need to know. Okay, after seeing different parts of the brain, now let's talk about neurons. How many types of neurons are there? Okay, types of neurons. First type of neurons are called as sensory neurons. So, what are sensory neurons? These neurons will take the information from the body to the brain. For example, touch, pain, temperature, pressure, proprioception, all these informations. Okay, now all this information from the body will be carried by a sensory neuron to the brain. Okay, so sensory neurons are the one which takes the senses to the brain. They are also called as afferents. Okay, sensory nervous system or the sensory neurons are called as afferents. Okay. Now, second type of neurons are called as, see here guys, second type of neurons are called as motor neurons. Now, motor neurons are efferents. So, they takes the command, after processing, they takes the command from the brain to the site, to the effector site. Okay, for example, see, whenever someone comes and pricks my skin, that information, pain information will be carried by a sensory neuron to the brain. Now, in the brain processing will happen. Now, what I should do? A motor neuron, a command will come from the brain to the effector site so that I will take my hand back. So, motor neurons are giving the command to the site, effector site, so that I will take my hand back. Okay. Now, so what we have seen two different types of neurons, sensory neurons and motor neurons. Sensory neurons are called as afferents, motor neurons are called as efferents. Now, here I want you to know one more important point. The sensory neurons, they are taking the information to the brain. Okay. So, they are ascending, these neurons are ascending to the brain. So, whenever you listen the word ascending tracts, will you think about sensory nervous system or motor nervous system? Definitely sensory nervous system. Why? Because these neurons are taking the information and they are ascending up to the brain. So, whenever you listen the word ascending tracts, you have to think about sensory nervous system. And the sensory neurons are inputs or not? Yes, the sensory neurons are inputs. They are acting as inputs to the brain. And what about the motor neurons? Motor neurons will bring the command, will take the information to the site, to the effector site. So, they are coming down like this from the cortex, they are coming down and going to the effector site. So, they are descending tracts. Okay. Descending tracts. Now, why we are discussing all this is because in the initial part of this chapter, we will be mainly discussing about the sensory nervous system, how senses are going to ascend up. In the later part, we will be mainly discussing about the motor nervous system, how the commands will come from the cortex to the effector site. Okay, first sensory nervous system, later motor nervous system. In sensory nervous system, we will see different types of senses, different types of receptors, how the sensations are going to travel to the brain, different types of special sensations like vision, hearing, taste, olfaction. All this will be covered under sensory nervous system. Later, we will be going to the motor nervous system. Okay. Now, after saying this, let's talk about the senses first. We are starting with the sensory nervous system. First topic is senses. How many types of senses are there? The senses are mainly classified into two types. Okay. First type is called as general sensations and second type are called as special sensations. Okay, general sensations, special sensations. Now, what are general sensations and why they are called as general sensations? See, general sensations include touch, pain, temperature, pressure. Okay, touch, pain, temperature, pressure, these are the primitive sensations which can be elicited from any part of the body. Okay, they can be elicited from any part of the body. You can feel touch here, you can feel touch on your tongue, you can feel touch on your feet, you can feel touch on your back. See, touch can be elicited from any part of the body. There is nothing special about the touch. It can be elicited from any part of the body. Okay, so for all these general sensations, the receptors, the important point is receptors are present on skin. Okay, so general sensations are the ones which are having the receptors on their skin. Okay, pressure receptors, touch receptors, pain receptors, temperature receptors, they are all present on the skin and they can be elicited from any part of the body. Okay, why? Because skin is there on all our body, so they can be elicited from any part of the body. Now, what are coming under special sensations? Special sensations include taste. Okay, let me write it down like this: taste, olfaction, vision, hearing or audition, and balance. See, all these are also senses. Central nervous system is getting all this information, but taste can be only elicited. Taste receptors are only present on the tongue. Taste cannot be elicited from the fingers. Taste cannot be elicited from the thorax. Taste is something localized. So these are special sensations coming from special organs. Same with olfaction. Olfaction can only be happening from the nose. Vision is going to only happen from the eyes and retina. And hearing is only possible with the ears, and balance is going to be possible with the semicircular canals and vestibule. Okay, semicircular canal, vestibule is there, no, in your ears from there. Okay. Now, for the special sensations, let's talk about the receptors. Receptor for special sensations are localized in special organs. Like I have already told you. I have already discussed with you, that's the eyes, ears, nose, vestibule, vestibular apparatus, tongue, okay, from there. Now, after discussing this, let's talk about a very important concept which is called as order of neurons. Okay, now we have seen different senses. Now, let's talk about the different orders of neurons. Now, for how many types of different order neurons are there? There are first order neurons, okay, first order neurons, second order neurons, third order neurons. Now, what is the difference between these first order, second order, third order neurons? See, first of all, let me write it down here, later I will explain. First order neurons are the ones which will start from receptor, starting point is receptor and ending point. Ending point for the first order neurons is spinal cord. Second order neurons. Second order neuron starts from the spinal cord and ends in thalamus. And third order neurons, they will start from thalamus and they go till to cortex. Okay. So, first order neurons, second order neurons, third order neurons. I have discussed with you. So, where first order neurons start and where they will end. Sir, what exactly we mean by first order, second order, third order neurons? Now, let me show you here. Okay, first of all, let me draw a simple diagram. Okay, here I am showing you the cross section of brain. We all know this is how the brain looks on the cross section. This is midbrain, down will be pons, and here is medulla oblongata. Down to medulla oblongata, we are having spinal cord. Okay, let's take this as the spinal cord. Now, let's show you a receptor here. Okay, I am just showing you a receptor in a simple way. This is receptor. Okay, let's take a receptor for touch. Okay, touch receptor. Now, someone comes and touches you. Now, here on your skin, there are touch receptors. First of all, what is a receptor? Okay, what is a receptor? Receptor is something which converts, one form of energy into electrical impulses. For example, I am saying you, if someone comes and touch, can I feel that sensation or not? Definitely I will feel that sensation. How I can feel? See, if someone comes and touches my skin, definitely someone is coming and touching. There is this mechanical energy. Okay, mechanical energy is getting involved. Okay, coming and touching, mechanical force. Now, there are receptors for touch here. Now, this mechanical energy, mechanical force is getting converted into electrical energy. So, receptors are the proteins, you can say. Receptors are the organelles. We shouldn't say organelles. Receptors are the structures which will convert one form of energy into electrical impulses. Okay, now someone is coming and touching. Now what this receptor is doing? It's converting that mechanical energy into electrical impulses. So here is attached, one neuron is attached. Okay, this is the first order neuron. Okay, now this first order neuron, where it is going? It is going into the spinal cord. Okay, now this is the first order neuron. Now what I have taught you? So first order neuron starts where? The starting point for the first order neuron is receptor. And first order neuron is going where? Only till to the spinal cord. Now what should happen? Now this information need to go till to the brain. Okay, where you are feeling this touch, pain, temperature, pressure, all this you are not feeling here. You are feeling actually in your brain. Okay, so the information, okay, is transferring in the form of electrical impulses. Now these electrical impulses are entering into the spinal cord. Now from here what will happen? The second order neuron will start. Now the second order neuron is going up like this. Okay, in the spinal cord the second order neuron is going up, it's entering into medulla, it's going into pons, it is going to through the midbrain, and here in the brain there is this one structure called as thalamus. Okay, now here the second order neuron will be terminated. The second order neuron is terminated. Now second order neuron function is completed. Now just tell me, can we call the second order neuron as ascending tract? Yes. The ascending tracts which we have discussed previously, the ascending tracts are nothing but the second order neurons. Why? Because they are ascending, they are taking the sensation up in the spinal cord, ascending. Okay, so these second order neurons are called as ascending tracts. Okay, now what will happen? From here, from the thalamus, the third order neuron will start and it is going to the cortex, and cortex is the place where you will feel the sensation. Cortex will process, cortex will understand. Okay, these electrical impulses will be understood with the cortex. So these are the third order neurons. So in a sensory pathway, just tell me how many orders of neurons are there? First order neuron, second order neuron, third order neurons. Simple. Third order neurons are starting where? Third order neurons are starting from the thalamus. See, the starting point for the third order neuron is thalamus and ending point is the cortex. Important point is, see, first order neuron is ending in the spinal cord, no doubt. But second order neuron, are you able to appreciate? It is crossing to the opposite side. So usually second order neurons crosses to opposite side. Okay, crosses to opposite side. Now after this, let's talk about receptors. Okay, in detail we will study later, in detail about each sense, how temperature is traveling, how pain is traveling, how proprioception is traveling. In discuss we will study, but this video is all about the basics. Now important receptors. Okay, first let's start our sensory nervous system with the topic of receptors. So receptors I have already taught you. Receptors are the one which will convert one form of energy into electrical energy. Okay, see, for example, if someone comes and touches my skin with a hot object. Okay, they imagine that this pen is very hot. Okay, now if someone comes and touches my skin with a hot object, can I feel that heatness or not? Definitely I can feel that heatness. So on the surface of my skin there are thermoreceptors. Now what these thermoreceptors are doing? Thermoreceptors are converting this heat energy into electrical impulses. So thermoreceptors are converting the heat energy into electrical impulses, and those electrical impulses are traveling to my brain via first order neuron, second order neuron and third order neuron. Okay. Now first type of receptors are nociceptors. Okay, nociceptors. What are nociceptors? They are the receptors of pain. Second receptors are tactile receptors. Okay, tactile receptors. They are the receptors of touch. And third type of receptors are proprioceptors. Okay, proprioceptors. They are the receptor for which sense? Positional sense. Positional sense of joints. okay, position of the joints in the three-dimensional space. Even without looking, you know where your finger is. Even without looking, you can see where your elbow is. So, sensations are going to your brain about the position of your body in the three-dimensional space. That is called as a proprioception. Even without looking, you know where your thumb is in the three-dimensional space. You know where your thumb is. So, some sensation from your thumb is going to the central nervous system. Your central nervous system is receiving the sense of a position of your body. So, that is called as a proprioception. Proprioception is taken by the proprioceptors. Now, what are teleceptors? Teleceptors. Now, teleceptors responds to distant stimuli. Distant stimuli. What does I mean by? See, normally thermoreceptors. Let's take thermoreceptors. Thermoreceptors are the one which are identifying the temperature. Okay, temperature. Now, if there is a thermoreceptor here, now if someone comes and touches my body with a hot object, my thermoreceptor is going to be activated. It converts the thermal energy, the heat energy into electrical impulses. So, there is a direct contact is there. So, for touch receptor also, tactile receptor also, you need to come and touch it for it to activate. But if there is light coming, okay, if there is light coming from a distant source, my rods and cones will be activated or not? Yes, definitely rods and cones in my eyes will be activated. So, rods and cones are the receptors of light. These receptors are activated by a distant stimuli, light coming from so far. Okay, so let's take an example, teleceptors example. Here are rods and cones. Okay, they are the receptors of light, or we can say rods and cones are the receptors of electromagnetic waves. Light is nothing but an electromagnetic wave, right? So, this electromagnetic wave is getting converted into electrical impulses in your retina with the help of rods and cones. So, rods and cones are the receptors of light, or the receptors of electromagnetic waves which are getting stimulated even with the distant stimuli. Okay, so teleceptors respond to distant stimuli. Already I have taught you thermoceptors. Now, what are these thermoceptors? Responds to heat or cold. So, these are the different types of receptors which you need to know. Okay guys, we have seen different types of receptors. In the next video, we will mainly discuss about different properties of receptors. Okay, receptors are having certain properties that will be discussed in the next video. Thank you.